Sleep is a human right. And we're right in front of City Hall. Hey, Metal.
City Hall.
And you've been down here for a while, probably, haven't you?
Well, originally this vigil aspect of this portion of the Occupy was started by a fellow that calls himself the Colonel. He immediately began protesting the eviction from Chapman and Lonsdale by holding a candlelight vigil. No sleeping, no camping, no tents, none of that. Just sitting with candles at a table in front of City Hall. Silently, passively, non-violently, waiting to be recognized by the powers that be for the shameful treatment we received. All right, and the fact that immediately after the eviction, the Portland City Police Department began rousting anyone they suspected of having been an occupant, wherever they were camped, in a doorway, back in the bushes.
Oh, really?
Even not, underneath. They ran everybody out from underneath of Hawthorne. Of course, everybody's back now. I understand they periodically do that anyway. But immediately after the eviction of Chapman and Lonsdale of the Occupy Portland movement, Portland City Police Department sent a clear and very understandable message to everyone who might have even thought about affiliating with Occupy Portland that they're going to get harassed, they're going to get run down the road. You don't want to be siding with them.
Just keep moving, huh?
They caught us camping underneath the Burnside Bridge one night, me and a bunch of the displaced. There was a lot of people that came to Occupy Portland that there were homeless, that had nowhere else to go, had mental health issues or drug addiction or criminal histories or whatever. There was also a lot of good folk that gave up their apartment and their job to come down and commit full time and put every penny they had into supporting this movement. Many of us believed that this was the beginning, and I still do believe that this was the beginning of the revolution I've waited my entire life for.
It's kind of what I felt when it started happening, when I first came out to this.
It's not done happening.
Yeah.
It's gone into a hibernation mode to some extent. But the Colonel started this vigil here. I spent the first 2 weeks after the eviction trying to lead a band of displaced, homeless friends and kids and families that don't have anywhere else to go, and people that gave up their apartment and their job to come and support Occupy that got basically screwed in the eviction from one place to another place, trying to get us a place to camp, trying to get everybody interested in the idea that we need to be talking about what do we do about our displaced protesters, that the first and only conversation superseding all other considerations that the General Assembly of Occupy Portland should have had after the eviction was, what are we going to do for our displaced protesters? That Occupy Portland official has yet to make that a serious discussion item or action item.
Is that what this vigil's bringing to light?
So this vigil was just by this fellow named the Colonel, who was just protesting the camping ban in Portland. And several of us began, when we found there was no place else for us to go, but that it was legal for us to camp within 4 feet of the curb, we started posting up out here on the sidewalk. It's fluctuated over as time has passed. We've had greater and fewer numbers. It's gone down to I think there's been at least one person sleeping on the sidewalk out in front of City Hall every night since the eviction.
Do people usually start the sleeping thing kind of late in the evening?
Yes.
Yeah.
But sometimes they're sleeping in way past into the morning, into the afternoon.
Okay.
A lot of us stay up all night trying
versus sneaking off and having to hide somewhere.
Yeah, here we are,
right there.
Sight.
Yep.
Downtown, Portland, Oregon, in front of City Hall. We didn't go anywhere. A lot of people they had to go hustle and get whatever they could get as the winter set in. But
are you hassled at all being with your vigil here?
If we step out of line in any way, shape, or form, there's no smoking within 50 feet of a City Hall door, right? So that means we got to be out there out by the sidewalk. No alcohol, obviously allowed, or drugs. We're under 24-hour surveillance.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
From all around, right there,
cameras
there,
everywhere. Yeah.
Which is in a way sort of a testament to the fact that we must be doing something right. I did get a 24-hour exclusion the other day because Well, I'd been up all night. I was the only one. I was frozen. I was cold. I was hungry. I was tired. I'd go out to this curb to lay out my bedroll. Oh man, I forgot that one thing. I forget what even what it is. I had already lit a cigarette. It was in my mouth as I walked back on without even thinking about it. And they came rushing out. You got a 24-hour exclusion. You can't come back for 24 hours.
Hardcore.
So we appointed some people to man the vigil in my stead. And I went to a friend's house. I got plenty of places to go. I don't have
it's
to.
It's a principle.
I don't have to be out here. But I got a lot of other friends that really don't have anywhere else to go. And they're stuck out here, and I'm not leaving until something's done about this.
I appreciate that. I like hearing that.
Yeah. The other thing is that, I don't know. I'm an alcoholic. I'm a drug addict. All right? I prefer to be. I don't at this stage of the game. I'm 40 years old. I don't want help. I don't want to change. I don't care. All right? I'm going to do what I'm going to do. Who's to say what I need to do to get through my day?
You're right.
I don't harsh anybody else's mellow or whatever it is they got to do to get through their day, right? There's a lot of, and I can be fairly foul-mouthed and salty language, especially after I get all my stuff thrown into the gutter by the police out here out front when they came and told us that tarps. There's 3 of us sitting in chairs
right here,
out here on the curb, with in a circle with a tarp pulled over us in the pouring rain, playing with. Like making some little sounds. One guy had a rattle, one guy had a little flute. We're sitting there just kind of sipping on a little bit of wine that we had out, not by the city hall, out on the curb, smoking cigarettes out there. In the pouring rain, about 8:30 at night, 7 patrol cars and a riot van, a total of, I believe, 12 cops, completely surrounding us, walling us in. Three soaking wet, bedraggled homeless people
sitting on a curb,
telling us that chairs with tarps over them is a structure. You're not allowed to erect a structure within city limits. That's a tent. That's a structure. You need to take that down right now, sir. We got up. We're like, all right, man, just calm down, slow down. All right, this is not that big a deal. Back off a little bit, sir. You need to hurry up. You need to get that down right now. I said, sir, you need to back up off of me. All right, I'll get it down. Just give me a minute, man. I'm cold and wet and tired, and I'm getting kind of old these days. And, sir, you need to hurry. I said, fuck you. I won't do what you tell me. Now what? Fine, sir. Bang. They grabbed our stuff and threw it in the gutter and seized our chairs and seized our tarps and left us standing in the rain. At that point, I went to the General Assembly. They were having it Occupy Portland. And I fucking cussed all of them the fuck out. I said, fuck all of you and your necks. You guys are not my friends. You guys failed to support the people who came to support you when we got evicted. What kind of crap is that? They didn't want to talk about where they're going to march next, and like some hippie '60s thing marching around with signs that didn't change anything then and isn't going to change anything now, is what we should be focusing on. I think they do this so that they can feel really good about themselves, feel like they look good, like they're really important people in the community doing something important when they're really not accomplishing anything, but pissing people off, pulling a bad name upon the people who came here to stand up for the against the injustice of the economic insanity of this country. There will be more. Half those people that got apartments and got little day jobs right now won't next year if something isn't done. I fear the ranks of the homeless will swell drastically, and with the signing of the NDAA, I fear that it's not long that we're all in camps after that.
It seems to be pointing in that direction, but
doesn't it?
Yeah.
So it's time to wake up.
Yeah, and that's part of what the vigil is, and that's why you're sitting here right now.
It is. So Occupy Portland and the Colonel and everybody else pulled all their support for this vigil immediately after voting unanimously to support it. I don't know where the logic is in that, except for that I understand that some of the members of Occupy Portland, and particularly the Women's Caucus, were offended by some of my language or something to that effect. Which, mind you, can be very salty at times, especially when you've been out in the trenches on the front lines.
You acknowledge it and you know it. It's not like you try to hide that.
I haven't once tried to hide it. I spent the first several weeks of the camps walking around shouting at the top of my lungs, I am an alcoholic, drug addict, perverted, freaky, weirdo, dumbass, dipshit freak. And you know what? This is my revolution too. I'm the bleeding edge of the 99%. Dude, look around the streets. You will see the bleeding edge of the 99%. The portion of the 99 that has been the most brutalized and harsh by this barbaric economic system we have.
Yeah. You're being nice and polite and not very offending right now.
Well, I'm
You know?
basically the last continuous occupant. Everyone else, they took the money and rented a church to have their meetings in, or they abandoned the movement altogether
Yeah.
and just got back with their street tribe and they're doing whatever they always did. You know, I'm the last actual occupant.
The part where you say, you know, the loud, salty mouth, all that, does that work against kind of some of the stuff you're trying to do? Like right now, a real positive, good message. Does that work against you in a way? I mean,
To anyone whose tender sensibilities are easily hardened by the language of an admitted douchebag, okay? I don't know about you, but I got over the whole name calling thing in kindergarten.
yeah.
All right? I learned this real quick on a prison yard when somebody called me some names that we're supposed to get in a gnarly fight and stab each other over. I said, listen, man, you can call me whatever you want. Go right on ahead. I ain't tripping. Stick a violent hand at me if you want to fight, and we'll see where it gets you.
It's another story there. Yeah.
You know, I'm not going to be provoked into aggressive behavior or into turning on members of my movement or any other thing by your language. Language isn't a trigger for me. It's funny that it's a trigger for so many others. We just say the magic words, you know. Whatever, you're a dummy doo-doo head. No, you're a dummy doo-doo head. Push me, shove you. And all of a sudden it starts out dumb, it gets retarded, and it's just stupid from there on out.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you know what? I like what you're doing, and I like your message here.
Thank you.
And I'll help share it in your words.
I got kids, man.
Okay, well, good. I do too.
My daughter just turned 21. She's the most beautiful being I've ever met in my entire life. And you know what? She deserves a way better world than this.
Yep. Somebody's got to fight for it and make it
I
happen.
didn't create the problems that we have today. I'm not the one that made it so that there's homeless people or that children are starving in faraway lands or that there's nuclear bombs or wars or fights over oil or any of this stuff. I was born into it. It was waiting for me when I got here. But you know what?
Let's fix it.
I'm damned if I'm going to just sit back and let the rest of my life go by without stepping up and trying to rectify it.
Or just take a hike and get out of here.
To where?
Yeah.
The enclosure of the map is sealed, man. It's a wrap. Everything's mapped. Everything's owned. It's not. You'd hide in the woods. You'd hide in Alaska, hide at the North Pole, wherever you think you can hide. It will come to you eventually. And if the world goes down, if human beings go down, we're likely to pull the entire planet down with us. And that's a scary thought.
Well, thanks for your vigil being here, and thanks for talking with me.
You're welcome.
Okay, man. Take care, guys. Yeah. Take care, bud.
Good to see you.
Okay.